So hello, my name is Ben.
And this is Nick.
So what we're doing today is we just got home from our class where we had a guest speaker, and her name was Sharon. So in advance of the class, we were supposed to read some of her book, which was The Trees Are Still Bending South, and me and Nick both read some poems from that. And we were also supposed to read the short story, which title escapes me at this time, but it was centered around a rougarou, which turns out is something that's not to do with a kangaroo, but it's to do with kind of a French folklore about kind of a werewolf-esque kind of crazy creature thing.
Actually, I looked it up and no one knows where that word originates, but it's strikingly similar to the French word for werewolf, which is loup-garou.
For loup-garou. Okay, so we read the short story, and my quick evaluation was that, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really funny story. It was a story about kind of an older lady lesbian who goes to a festival and is looking for love, and when's the last time I ever read a book like that? It's when I go out and read books, they're usually pretty mainstream, like Da Vinci Code or whatever. So just to be able to read a book with a character like that and have it be pretty funny and humorous with a little bit of murder and drama, yeah, that's a pretty good mix for me. So I'm not too sure how you felt about that, Nick.
I felt the same. It's like your lesbian love quest, your supernatural monsters, and to top it off, it's set in close to Drumheller, so it's like a local story too. So lots of unique stuff going on with it, and I thought it was a great short story as well.
So we also read some of her poetry, and I have to say that before I read most of her poetry, I read the short story, and the humor in that made it just super easy to digest. I was having a great time with it. And now, that I've sat down and read, a lot of the poetry and The Trees Are Still Bending South, I do have to say that there are a lot of, poems or passages or some symbology that sort of makes me uncomfortable, more so than, kind of a humorous tale about a nice old lady, finding love kind of thing. So
there are some poems like that in the book, too, though. It's not only these more uncomfortable subject matter.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. I'm not saying that I was assaulted from start to finish by uncomfortable material, but it's there's definitely when it comes to when I wouldn't say stuff rubbed me the wrong way, but it's when stuff came across where I was I don't know how I feel about this. Usually that would happen in that happened in the poems and some of the poems in these books, and obviously some of the subject matter is super serious. It's about some moments in her history, and it's hard to put humor over a situation like that in the form of poetry, but I mean there's some parts in here that just kind of generally speaking made me uncomfortable for reasons aside of history or that kind of thing.
But it's good to stop at those points and evaluate what's making you uncomfortable. So maybe, do you have an example of one of those instances?
Yeah, I do have an example. I'm gonna read it to you now. So I'm just gonna make you. I feel like we might both be a little comfortable, but I'm just gonna I'm gonna read it. So this is from Dis is a living English prefix.
All right, I'm ready.
Dis is not a tall tale, I tell her. A physician friend tells me, us women, we have 32 love-making glands. The men have something like 2. So without dispute, we squirt 30 times more than any man. Don't you think that's over, the top, she says? Me, I don't go there. Orgasm creates discord, a disembodied, overrated state like a woman's moontime. When the heart and mind hold such a distrust, a woman's love, her juices, not the path my life will take. Dis is not a tall tale, I tell her. Full moon out from the downpour, out from the storm. Many old people hold moonstones, they're sacred those. Even through the smells of women love, patches of snow still hug the north sides of moonlit hills, shiver in the shadows. Of a grandmother's power to shapeshift, to travel great distances, past and present, careful not to disturb the lining of Mother Earth's womb. So how did that passage make you feel?
Well, there's some material in there I'm gonna say I just don't think about on a daily basis, and I usually don't seek out literature based around that. But that's the only reason. Well, yeah, it made me uncomfortable.
So basically, yeah, I feel the same. We're just being open and honest here, having a little heartfelt discussion, and it's just like straight up, you know, I'm a guy. I don't like go out trying to find stuff like this and read it. I'm not saying that this invalidates it or anything like that. It's just like this just like there's certain things in life like when I hear people talking about it or people start talking about it, and it's just like, well, I don't really want to know about that.
You don't want to know about lovemaking glands and how many?
There's only like so many bodily juices I want to know about before I've kind of reached my juice overload. So I think that, yeah, this does not invalidate the poetry. It's great. It's just like, of all the things that happen in this that make me feel different things, the uncomfortable feeling mostly comes from just kind of like the woman's body and you know, the kind of sexual bits of the women's body. I'm sure the male's body as well, if it was in here. I don't know.
But I think that certainly comes down to our beliefs as males and whatever stigma we have attached to our thinking about the female body and all of that stuff. So it's...
Yeah, I'm
That's
sure.
a tough one.
I'm sure in a lot of deep ways, my way of thinking is symbolic of just how we were raised culturally. But at the same time, I'm just so wholeheartedly invested in that. It's just like I don't even want to delve into it. It's just like, yep, I'm done talking about juices. So anyway, I think that's pretty much all we had to talk about for this particular book. Sharon was a wonderful person. She was a great and funny person. It was nice to have her in the class, and it's good reading her book.
Yep, she's a great speaker and great writer, and it was a pleasure to read her material.
Alright, so if you're listening to this, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your English class.
Later.